Can you imagine living in a world with no sun, no sunrise and no sunset, no day or night? Well, according to a new study, at least some kind of life forms could potentially be living on moons of planets that are not actually connected to any star system. So they probably don't have any mythology about the sun rising and falling because they're not connected to a star that could rise or fall. They're not orbiting a star. And so a planet that's not connected to a specific star system is called a rogue planet. And according to a new study, there might be life on moons of these rogue planets. And you might be asking yourself, how could you possibly have life without some kind of energy and heat source coming into that planetary system? Well, if you look at Jupiter and some big planets, if a planet is big enough, it creates very, very high gravitational forces that can heat up the things that are attached to that system. And so if it has a moon, for example, it can make that moon heat up just from its gravitational forces. And so that's basically what this new study is about. They're saying that some of the moons that are attached to some of these big planets that are not part of a star system could harbor life. They could have water, and there could be something living there. And I think that the search for life outside of Earth is exciting in general. And this is one more place that we can look. So let's take a look at this article from Extreme Tech. They say, rogue planets' moons could harbor life, says new study. The search for life among the stars naturally focuses on stars, because that's where most planets are after all. But a new analysis from a team of German and Chilean researchers points to another interesting possibility. Perhaps rogue planets that are not tethered to any star could also provide a home for life, not on the planet itself, but on a moon orbiting the planet. And here's why. This is what they're saying. Based on all available data, there are most likely a large number of rogue planets in our little corner of the universe. One study estimated that the number of planets drifting around the Milky Way between stars at roughly 50 billion. So just in the Milky Way galaxy, it looks like there's roughly 50 billion planets that are drifting around in between stars. They're not connected to a specific star system. And I didn't know that before. That's interesting. Astronomers even made a direct observation of one last year. Without heat from a star, how could any such planetary system remain toasty enough for life as we know it? The study, published in the International Journal of Astrobiology, says that our old friend gravity is the key. Yeah. We know that large gas giant planets can exert extreme gravitational influence on their moons. Just look at Jupiter, which has so much gravity that it stretches the crust of its moons. This so-called tidal heating probably keeps moons like Europa warm enough to maintain a subsurface liquid ocean. So why not a rogue planet? The team created simulations of Jupiter-like planets with Earth-sized moons. They modeled the thermal structure of the rogue moon based on established planetary science and found that it could be habitable. Any such world would be bone dry, say the researchers. The amount of water present on a rogue moon would probably be about 10,000 times less than we have on Earth, but it's enough for something or someone to scrape out a meager existence. So we shouldn't expect to probably see a lot of complex forms of life, but there could be some kind of life that's living on these rogue moons, orbiting a rogue planet out in the middle of some galaxy somewhere. It's definitely possible. Provided that the moon had at least 90% carbon dioxide in its atmosphere, it should be able to retain enough heat from tidal heating to avoid freezing over. However, without a star to drive chemical reactions, and this is another key, the chances of a complex biochemical system arising seem remote. The team has an answer for that as well, however, suggesting that cosmic rays could serve a similar purpose outside the protective sheath of a star's magnetic field. So the sun has a magnetic field that has some kind of shielding from cosmic rays that are just out there in the universe. And without that, if we were on a rogue planet out in the middle of nowhere, those cosmic rays would be kind of hitting us. And the scientists are saying that that could provide a basis for biochemical reactions as well, which I think is interesting. And of course, they go on to say that this is all entirely hypothetical. We know some of the pieces fit with what we know about planets, and there are a lot of rogue planets, and exoplanets do have moons, often referred to as exomoons. And it stands to reason that some rogue exoplanets might also have moons. As inhospitable as this environment sounds to us, it would be just right for any organism that managed to evolve there. So we have no idea. There could be life there on some rogue moon orbiting a rogue planet out there in some galaxy. And I would guess, based on probabilities, that somewhere that is happening. And whether or not we can find it on something closer to us remains to be seen. But I am fairly confident that at some point, as long as we keep exploring, we're going to find at least some other form of life somewhere else in the universe. And I can't wait for that moment. I think it's going to happen. And I think that there's probably a lot of different life forms out there. And it would be interesting if we could see them. Now, I'm not sure if contact with us would be good or bad for those other life forms. So maybe it's not a good thing if we, quote, discover them. And discovery is kind of a loaded word too. So I'm not sure. But from a human curiosity perspective, because I'm one of the most curious people on Earth, I want to know if there's something else out there or not. And I think most of us do. So hopefully we will find something soon. And we have one more place to look, and that's rogue moons around rogue planets that aren't necessarily connected to a star system, which kind of goes against a lot of the ideas that we have about life out there and what's required for that. So I thought this is really interesting, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. And if you want another little nugget like this every single day, I post a new video every single morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. So feel free to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to hang out with me for a few minutes every single day. Either way, I'm Jim Wolf, and I'll talk to you later.